Alright, what's going on, people? It's your boy Killer Cam coming at you once again. We got Ace in the place. How you doing, brother?
Hey, I'm doing alright, man. How you doing?
I'm good. We got Heater the Completer as well. How you doing, OG?
Doing alright. Doing good today. Ready to go.
It's always good to hear. We got a lot on the docket today. We're covering foreign policy, current events, and we got some movies to finish. But to start out, we got a new character in the Republican race making waves by the name of Vivek Ramaswamy. You guys heard of him?
Yep, I saw him on a couple of clips.
Vivek Ramaswamy. No, I ain't heard of him. What's going on with him?
Basically, he's this a little more like background on him. He's the CEO of Roivant Sciences. He's basically really an Ivy League dude. You know, he graduated from Harvard and Yale. He's trying to make waves in the Republican race as it is, but he's really more of like a kind of a nerd, you know, a big pharma nerd. He started out making his money as an undergraduate and selling this company he had called Student Businesses. It got acquired back in 2009. After that, he had a good amount of money, but he wanted to go to law school, so he ended up applying for, I believe, the Soros Fellowship and getting it, and now he's running the Republican race, and I don't think he gets people to really know about that. Personally, to me, I think he's more of your Cruz, you know, DeSantis type, the type of graduate from an Ivy League and throw on some cowboy boots and try to yeehaw it up. The thing of it is he's an Indian man, you know, and it's not really working for him.
See, and that's the thing. I don't understand this trend of people that are not white going to the Republican Party to try to run for government. I just don't understand what the new trend is. I mean, maybe y'all can explain it to me.
I don't understand it at all. You know, he overplayed his hand recently. I think he called Congresswoman Presley and author Ibram Kendi the grand wizards of the modern KKK after they called him out for some of the stuff he said. And this is usually what like your Candace Owens and your Larry Elders will do, you know, that kind of stuff. The thing of it is he's really overstepped in saying that. You know, he's comparing two black people to a terrorist organization. Granted, if he was the complexion of Cruz, if he was a white man, something like that, he might have been able to get away with it, but he doesn't really have the same camera presence or the bearing that one like Trump or Christie would have, you know.
Well, he's trying to appeal to the MAGA group, man. You know, with those what they call them dog whistles and stuff like that. You know, I think what the Congresswoman said was that brown faces shouldn't be speaking the way.
Yeah, she said we don't need another brown face.
Yeah.
Championing a white supremacist
ideology, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
And he must have taken that to heart. His thing is he's very performative and showy. You know, he's a real talker, but he doesn't have, like I said, he doesn't have the presence. You know, so he'll really put on a show, and you can tell he doesn't have it. I don't think that like the main base of Republican voters are going to be bothered with him, you know, mainly because he is a man of color and also the way he conducts himself. He's really iffy on his foreign policy. You know, people say he won the last debate, but he was talking the USSR, and then Nikki Haley really got in his ass about some things. And when he does get challenged on things, he tries to over-explain things. He's really a big pharma nerd, you know.
Okay. I don't even know if it's worth. See, I don't even know where the Republican Party stands, because it's like half of them are decent human beings at the very least. Then the other half of these die-hard Trump people are like 30-40%. And I just don't understand, after all these investigations and stuff that's going on with him, how you can still support this dude. I mean, it's almost like a cult. Strange.
You speaking about Trump or?
Yeah, the MAGA people. Like
it's strange how people are, man. You know, they connect to whatever emotional, whatever they experience in their life. You know.
I'll tell you what I think it is. Trump gives them free reign to be their worst selves. You know, allows them to be white supremacists. He says, well, the Capitol does belong to us, so we can sack it if we want to. If I want to say or do whatever I feel like, I'm going to do it. 68% of them are saying he's still electable, even with all the indictments, even if he gets arrested. They're willing to back a criminal if it allows them to be their worst selves, and that's the issue with the United States. You know, there's no real unity. There's no real. People aren't as couth. You know, people don't want to pretend anymore like they used to.
Well, there's 30% of people of the population that's not voting anyway because they feel like, you know, what's the point?
No, they're disillusioned. The Dems, they're going to sit back and do nothing. You know, and the Republicans are going to do everything. They're going to do everything that they can, regardless of who it hurts. I mean, anti-abortion was so unpopular that Trump doesn't. He doesn't have anything to say about it. He can't back it with anything. I don't know. Was it Ann Coulter? Was she the recent Supreme Court? Yeah. She gets on there. He appointed her because he was really just doing his job. He was following them. He's not in control of the Federalist Society. For the most part, presidents are really just chimps in suits who do whatever. You see that with Biden getting ran through by the credit loan places, or like SoFi and the Supreme Court doing it, man, or Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema doing what she wants to do.
You don't think he's a corporate guy, man? That's his track record, isn't it?
I've never known him to be corporate. He's always been a center-right Republican. I don't know why. Like, he became a Dem when Obama took him under, but he was really more. I mean, we're talking Jim Crow Joe here, the man who wrote the crime bill. Who was the guy in the Senate you say he wrote it with?
I just saw his name too. I can't recall it right now.
Well, hell, we just saw Bill threw him under the bus saying that you got to increase sentences.
That was funny. He threw him under the bus.
But it's not like Bill's hands were clean. You were president, Bill.
Yeah, but you see how he tried to explain himself? How he tried to
just like he did
put
with
it off on other people.
That's his whole shtick, Mo. We're not talking about Bill, but Bill always it's always said that he hasn't done anything. He's always innocent Bill. He never wants to take credit for anything. Of course,
I saw the speech when he was signing it, and Gore was doing this intro and all that stuff, and mentioning all the people who was involved. All of them was up on the stage with the chest out and was just proud of the crime bill legislation, and I was like, wow, this is crazy to me, man.
Yeah.
And all the damage it caused,
Yeah.
But I mean, I feel like these politicians are given that liberty to just be uncouth and all this and that because of the way our voting system is, right? Like, we have there obviously are more than two parties, but if anybody is caught voting third party, what do you always hear people say? Oh, you threw your vote away.
It's a wasted vote.
Yeah, it's like, that shouldn't be how the system is. I mean, if we changed our voting policy to make it, instead of first past the post where it's just whoever gets the most votes wins, if we made it more something like a ranked choice voting system, or a voting system where that you can actually look at the people who are running and vote for somebody who you're actually interested in, and then feel like your vote's not wasted.
I agree. If we get rid of the bipartisan system as it is, because really it's just corporations in a suit controlling everything. If we get rid of that and force these guys to run on policy only, then we'll see who's panicking and who's really got what it takes. Granted, we're still going to get our smooth talkers and BSRs and things like that, but if you don't have the super PACs, if you don't have the party to back you up, if you don't have all that BS to fall back on, if you don't have the dog whistles, then you're going to have to bring forth progressive things that people actually want. I mean, if you look across party lines, people want the minimum wage to go up. People want health care for each other. I mean, as much as they like to say it, the overwhelming majority of social welfare recipients are non-Hispanic whites, even though they like to put it on us, but they don't see that their own party, the Conservative Party, wants to take that away and hamstring them. It's like you said a little while ago. You said they'll cut out one of their eyes if black people lose both of theirs. I think that's in all cases very true, and it's also very telling of the current United States and the fact that we've been declining and sliding back since the Reagan era. It's only been getting worse and worse, and people aren't willing to do anything about it because they want the enemies on the other side. We're playing like party games, two-party system here, They want the people on the other side to suffer, even if they have to suffer to see it.
Because, I mean, the fact of the matter is the Democrats and Republicans need each other. It's like a symbiotic relationship. Oh, look at look at this Democrat. Doesn't he look crazy? That's why you should vote for me, because we don't want none of that liberal BS. Or, oh, look at this Republican doing this. I mean, regardless of which one you think is more logical or however you feel about it. I mean, just looking at it from just a strict non-partisan way, it's just ridiculous.
I mean, that's all the Dems have to run on. That's why I believe back during the midterm when they were talking, when Dixon was running, Tudor Dixon was running, a lot of them, I believe some Democrats, some of those mainstays in New York lost their seats because all they have to run on is either you vote for me or you deal with 4 years of a villain or however long they hold this seat. Because, I'm not going to do anything. And plus, I don't like you as it is. They hate their own constituents. They hate the poor. Look, it's a Cinema and Manchin. They hamstrung the Green New Deal, something very similar to the Civilian Conservation Corps, something that could have helped a lot of people. And what did they get out of it? I mean, was Cinema now an independent? Who gives a damn about that? And Manchin, he goes back to his coal mines, and what do we have left?
Right.
A gutted deal with nothing in it, and a president that was made to look even weaker than he was when he's falling on stages.
But what if that Biden wanted that anyway, man? What if they're two peas in the pod?
I mean, that's probably entirely the case. It doesn't seem like he was pushing back on it much.
Didn't look like it to me. Not at all. You know, he had him by the throat. Him and what's the woman?
Christian Cinema.
Yeah, she was there too. And it's like, it's ridiculous that you guys gonna hold up, progress because you want to make a
statement.
A statement.
Yeah, she was saying it's not done right, or it has to be done a certain
And that's
way.
what most of the American people are saying. They're like, every time the Dems get in the office, they don't do anything.
And now they're feckless cowards. Biden.
That's how people see him.
He had the support of AOC. He had a lot of young people. He had people that support AOC. AOC has the voice of the young people. She was there for the progressive stuff when he was talking about. But when that went away, she went back to her district and she went back to getting money for her district. She's worried about herself again because she sees that there's no president there to back up anything that they try to push. Imagine she tries to bring that stuff to New York and there's nothing there. They end up wasting money and time on it. She's not going to have her seat anymore.
Right. Right. You know what was crazy to me is when when Biden was going up against Bernie and they got down, he was getting his tail whooped before they went down to South Carolina. Lo and behold, who backed up Biden? Will Clyburn?
I think that's the name.
Yeah.
Never heard of him.
Yeah,
He's
Will
a South
Clyburn.
Carolina dude.
Yeah. He backed up Bernie Sanders, and then he got all the other people, the older people down there in South Carolina to back Biden too.
I would say because before South Carolina, Biden had no chance.
Nope.
I mean, that was his last ditch effort, and then somehow he won the seat. But I mean, that's that just gets back at the Democrats' inability to choose somebody that's willing to shake something up. I mean,
and Democratic infighting is so prevalent. I mean, Dems will go after each other sooner than they'll go after conservative. I mean, look at Hillary and Hillary and Bernie and that whole debacle. And it let a TV star walk in and become president and give us 4 years of hell. I mean, what does Hillary Clinton have to offer that Joe Biden, not Joe Biden, but Bernie Sanders couldn't have given us? We're going to sack Libya again. We're going to get a whole bunch more scandals. Pokemon go to the polls, all that cringe. I mean, who wanted her?
Nobody won.
And that's the very reason why Trump won, right? If he was going up against Bernie, I don't think he would have had a chance.
He couldn't have hung.
The poll said that.
Yeah, and I still don't know how she got the nomination. And don't get me wrong, I'm not disagreeing with women being, the president and this, that, and the third, but her specifically, I don't know what she would have done for this country.
We could have got a better female president than that. I mean, hell, if they brought Condoleezza Rice, I would have voted for her.
I would say, yeah.
Yeah, I think what wind up happening is the Democratic Party got behind Hillary and they backdoored Bernie Sanders.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You know what
Shot
I'm saying?
themselves in the foot.
Yeah, they backdoored him to make sure he didn't get the nomination. And then, like I said, the polls were saying that against Bernie, Trump had no chance. But Hillary, you know what I'm saying? That
wouldn't have been a question.
Right. So we wound up with Trump. But
I won't deny, though, Hillary, she did get the majority vote, but she lost the Electoral College because she was not going to win those red states. You're talking Iowa, Oklahoma,
But I mean, see, that gets into the whole electoral college problem in and of itself. How do you? This has happened, I think, 4 times, and 3 of the times have happened since 2000, where the popular vote winner didn't win the actual election. I don't understand how that makes any sense to anybody. Following the thought process of first past the post, whoever gets the most votes wins. Electoral college just says, well, not really. And it's like, that's how, honestly, I have a feeling that Republicans have gamed the system to the point where, yeah, they don't care about getting the popular vote. All they care about is getting them electoral college wins.
Yeah, they don't need it because
what I'm saying, it's smart.
Yeah, no, actually,
redistricting.
Yeah. Oh yeah, all the gerrymandering. Yeah.
They slice it up so that your vote doesn't mean anything anymore.
But that's what American people like about them, though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They're willing to do whatever it takes to get in office.
But they're conniving.
And I mean, to their credit, it's worked, right?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously they've gotten seats, they've gained majorities, and this and that and the other. And you know, when you have, I could see somebody when you have an option of, are you going to pick somebody who's definitely not going to do something, or who's willing to make sacrifices, do what it takes to get there? Logically, not even talking about just the policies they're supporting, just based on pure person. Because I mean, elections, popularity contests, anyway. But you know, just talking about the person itself, who you gonna choose? I'm gonna pick the person who's steadfast and diligent, right?
Well, yeah, that goes back to Ramaswamy. You're gonna pick the dude who's wearing the cowboy boots, even though you know he's Ivy League, even though he doesn't actually care about you. He's hurting the people who you don't like, or the people you think are actually hurting you. Even though you might have the same ideas, even though really he's selling out everybody to the corporations. You know, these guys don't actually care. I mean, Ted Cruz himself, he graduated from Yale, Harvard, the same as Ramaswamy, and they caught him fleeing from his own country when there was a storm coming. You know, I saw a commercial the other day when his effete ass was out there drinking beer with a bunch of other, I don't even know what you call them, a bunch of corns, trying to act like that's anything that he does. That guy sits around in his mansion drinking wine. All right, this isn't a country, but he isn't one who, you know what it is. Who was that one? John Fetterman. He's not John Fetterman. You know, as much as he wants to pretend somebody who's actually about it, you know, somebody who's from the place, somebody who looks like you could sit down and have a beer with. He's not actually there, you know, but when you get a guy like that, somebody who could actually influence the people because he is the people, they want to make it as if he can't do the job. I mean, Fetterman had that stroke, and they made it like he didn't have his mind anymore, like he couldn't do anything.
Did he win? Didn't he win?
Yeah, and you know what they wanted him to? They wanted him to lose to Dr. Oz.
I know that was.
I didn't understand how that
was
made
ridiculous.
any
A man
sense.
who was hawking fake pills for a living a little while ago had to go in front of the Supreme Court.
I don't know I don't know if I could have stayed in this country if Dr. Oz would have won that election, man. I just don't know. But
That whole election, that cycle was a joke. I mean, they were running on anti-abortion. They were running on trans and all of that. I think the American people, you would have an easier time convincing Americans that the trans don't exist at all than you would saying that they're out hunting down, looking for children. Mm-hmm. The people that are grooming the children are the people that are most upset about it. The evangelists who want to keep them in the church, who want to keep them from being their true selves. I mean, it's not as if it's like a trend that's just spreading across. People are just doing it for fun. People are getting elective surgeries and people wanting to kill them now. People are doing it because it's evening out. It's correcting now. It's the numbers are equaling what they should have been if these people hadn't been afraid to be who they were originally.
Mm-hmm. When you throw the boogeyman out there and that gets people motivated, man. You know what I'm saying? They you know, it's what they're thinking anyway, and they know those, like they said, those dog whistles and stuff. They know which ones to throw out there.
I mean, it's
and when you listen to them, it sounds kind of ridiculous, but that's where you know most people who got sense make the biggest mistakes because they be like, "Man, are you serious?"
I mean, that's how Trump got elected, right?
Yeah.
Because the news media assaulted him throughout his whole candidacy, and then they was like, "Wait." People are actually stupid enough to vote for this dude.
Yeah,
you know.
I know I mean, watching the campaign, him and Hillary, watching them campaign, man, it was like a joke to me.
I mean, it goes
I was one of those people who said, man, I can't deal with either one of those.
Yeah,
you know,
a lot of people stepped out of the voting circle with that. You know, a lot of people stepped out with Bernie because that was a lot of people's last hope for like any real progress that happened in the country. I mean, it goes back to what you were saying, Ace. The elderly in politics is a trend that needs to stop. You know, we got too many fogies in there. Manchin's trying to explain away himself having a stroke on camera. You know, we got Joe falling on the stage. Who knows how old Trump is?
You see Bernie though. You see the energy he had, and he had the youth too. So and they stopped that in the tracks.
Well, and because the Democrats couldn't have actual change. Oh no, can't do that. Well, don't even get me started on the elderly in politics. Have y'all heard about Mitch McConnell, man?
Yeah.
This is. I think this is the second time in a month that he done froze up there. Mm-hmm. Man, I just don't. I understand how this man is still being allowed to, you know, represent these people. You know, I mean, granted, don't get me wrong, he's far from the first example. We've mentioned some here today. You look at somebody like Dianne Feinstein, who was 90 years old.
Out in a wheelchair.
Yeah, she was out for shingles for like a bunch of months.
A mess looking at her. It makes me sad.
It's sad, man. Chuck Grassley is about 95 years old.
Isn't he the oldest?
I think so. One of the, if not the oldest, man.
Remember RBG, former Supreme Court judge? They were waiting for her to just survive long enough until the next election.
They hoped that she would just stay there. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, you look at the average Congress age today, right now, is the third oldest it's been since 1789. Like, just think about that for a second. Over 200 years, and we're somehow the third oldest. Now, with the Senate being an average of 64, the House being about 57.9, according to USA Today. Now, meanwhile, you know what the average American is?
What's that?
38.8. That's a 20-year difference. It's hard for me to identify with somebody that's 3 generations older than me, saying that they can, represent me and make policy for me that actually is changing something and something I can identify with. Now, granted, as we've talked about previously, Bernie Sanders was the exception, right? He was about, 80 when he ran against Hillary? 80, 76, 80? Yeah.
About 78,
About how old Biden was when he got elected, I think. Ain't no way he would have made it a whole 2 or 8 year term, but that's besides the point. Like, I refuse. I can't sit here in good conscience and think that there doesn't need to be an age limit in place. Something. I mean, whether it be mental cognizance, something needs to be put into place to make sure that these people are actually mentally fit to be able to represent us.
I thought about it in the FBI sense at first. At the age of 57, the agents are done. You're retired. You're set. You can do what you got to do, but you're done at 57. I don't think that's really fair. It's just 57-year-olds right now who are working. It's not as if you're not in your right mind at the age of 57. I think we should do it in terms. You come in with your president, you vote during the primary, and if you can't get it done in 4 years or however long, if you get reelected, you might be in there with a different president, but if you can't get it done in 4 years, then you're done. You can't just keep sitting in there collecting a check and blocking things in the House and the Senate, screwing everybody over.
Mm-hmm. I mean, allowing things to stay the same will just get you another Mitch, another Diane, and it's just going to keep going in a cycle. So, let me ask you, Heater, man, do you think there should be an age limit, man? Because, I mean, you have the older perspective than we do, Yeah,
it should be. It definitely should be an age limit because, I mean, when you really think about it, the youth do not think like some of these old people who's in there now. I mean, we talking about Jim Crow era. I'm not, back in the 60s.
People who were alive for it, yeah.
That's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Because people hold on to their mindset, how they think, how they grew up, and it's totally different from how millennials on down, how y'all think, man. It's totally different. It's time because back in the 60s, that's when Martin was marching and stuff like that. The young people started going in, and getting rid of some of those people who've been there for years.
That's true.
And plus, the young people, y'all the driving force now, man. It's time for y'all. It's time for people to move to the side so y'all can go in there and do y'all thing.
Yeah.
As a Gen Zer, I'm seeing Ace. I'm seeing you guys like the first millennials. From like the age I believe 25 up to 45. They're starting to place the baby boomers and the Gen Xers. They're starting to inherit the economy and the houses and the jobs as it is, but they're being disillusioned from doing it because they see that not only do their votes have no impact, but their dollar doesn't have the same worth that their parents do. I mean, this is something that people have talked to death, but it's something that's there. And it's something that I don't think is going to go away, and I think it's something that might get even worse as I get older. Because if you guys, people who have been working, people who have received these degrees, people who have received technical degrees and know what they have to do, have to what'd you say? You had to take out your 401k, you and your wife, in order to get your home. What am I going to have to do to get a house? I don't have a 401k right now. I haven't been working all that long.
And it's something's going to have to change. I mean. And to be honest with you, I don't even understand why it is that Americans have this thought process of like, oh, I've got to have somebody who's at least X number of years old to be the president or to represent me. Like it's been this continuous trend that the older candidate sometimes will just win out just because, especially in the lower races where folks aren't necessarily paying attention to what their policy, what they stand for, all that. The older person will win just because they're older, they're more experienced. And it's like, I'm not saying I want a 15-year-old to represent me by any means, but I mean, I want somebody that's shouldn't have retired 15 years ago either.
I don't think that age is all that good of a tell for her experience as it is. I mean, look at Asa Hutchinson. Look at Rafe Bannon, Mike Pence. I mean, what is he running on anymore? He's trying to recover some of what he lost when he was under Trump. We look at Asa and he's just up there rambling. Chris Christie, he's not all that old, but he's just rambling. I think that's why Vivek won the last debate, is because he was up there. He had the energy. He was firing back at people. He got stopped up a little bit when Christie caught him on that Obama line he tried to repeat, and when Haley pressed him on his foreign policy. But I think what people want to hear is somebody with some fervor, something in their heart. Somebody that'll say, what, I'll actually champion the things that you're talking about. What do you think, Heat?
I think that Vivek, man, when it comes to him, the stuff that he was talking about that's old Trump stuff, man. It's outdated, and people should move past that garbage, man.
Yeah.
As far as older people, they say that Biden got a lot of stuff done. You know what I'm saying? Because he's been there for 100 years.
What did he?
You know what I'm saying? I heard the other day he passed a lot of stuff. You know what I'm saying? More than the most recent presidents.
I mean, he did definitely make some progress in terms of trying to. To his credit, he did try to get folks the $10,000, $20,000 debt waive of student loans and that. I mean, he definitely did that, or at least made the attempt to. But I mean,
he held it for a little while, but you see now that it's coming back, people's finances are getting messed up, man. People who are getting homes, trying to move forward in their lives, trying to actually contribute to the economy and society as a whole, are being hamstrung now because the old way of you getting caught under debt and just having to work for it all is coming back. And it's not as if the same, you're not getting the same rewards that you would have before if you actually did that now. Now you're just being caught in a debt ceiling. You're paying $1,000, $1,200 for an apartment. Who knows however much your car note is. Insurance is out of this world. That's if you can even afford it. And we're just assuming that people can get to this. I mean, you look at what they're saying on the news. Was it 1 in 7 kids are dealing with food insecurity? If you can't feed your own children, how are you paying for a decent car to get back and forth to work, or trying to keep yourself in a nice home or something? Well,
alone trying to build financial wealth and longevity and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, it's like I said, they're gonna have to do something. Man. I don't know what they're gonna do, but they're gonna have to do something.
I think they need some new blood, something non-traditional like Trump. Someone who you told me about a little while ago, somebody had to learn about. You were telling me a little bit about Cornel West, right?
Yeah.
What's going on with Cornel West? I don't think I've heard that name before, man.
Yeah, he's running for president now. He's been the president at Yale, Harvard, and all the different places and stuff. Yeah, he's running for president now because in the Green Party, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Because he's talking, all he talks about is going against corporate
greed
and stuff like that. And he speaks about the people. He's been doing that and been consistent with that for years. But the reason why I wanted to bring him up is people are worried about a lost vote, and they're trying to blackball him and try to get him to step out of the way so Biden can get back in there. But my question is, if he get enough delegates, if he get enough people behind him, you know what I'm saying, he can give that 30%, that 30% that don't vote, he can give them a voice, because they don't vote for a reason. You know what I'm saying? If they had, I'm quite sure if Bernie would have been in there, he'd have got some of those people.
Oh, absolutely.
Because how many people got student loans? Man? Everybody.
It's like 1.7 billion.
I think the debt total is about 1.7.
That resonates with people. Debt. Mm-hmm. We're going to get rid of student loans, and like Bernie said, it's like a revolution. It might not happen in the first or the second, but as long as you're still there and you're voting people, the right people in, you know what I'm saying, that's behind those type of things, then it'll happen. Clinton came in because you used to be able to bankrupt student loans. He came in and took away all that, made it virtually impossible. I don't think that he would win the nomination.
Okay.
But symbolically, do you think it's worth voting for the guy if he's speaking to the issues that you can, that you can identify with? Because the whole thing with Bernie was that's a wasted vote. He's taking away votes from this person or that person, whatever. But the people that they're putting in place not give you anything anyway. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? You're not gaining anything, so why not vote for the person you want to vote for, and not worry about people saying, "Oh man, that's a wasted vote." I mean, what's your opinion on that?
The only people that are saying it's a wasted vote like that are the establishment. People who've got a stake or some skin in the game. People who are getting paid off by SoFi. Like, don't they, during the election cycle, they have to go to a certain building and beg and whine for a little bit of money, and that's why when they go up there to get elected, they have to, like, I believe, like, say certain announcements or whatever it was. You know what I think would help? Not help, but it would really, like, do them in, is if we got rid of lobbyists. No more lobbying, no more, I don't want to say gerrymandering, but no more filibustering, any of that. No more of the BS. No more of the establishment tools that they have to keep us from being able to push forward the things we want, because the young vote wants progress. They want progressive stuff. But when you get, like, when you get told you got to wait 1 or 2 generations, when you have a kid, maybe by then something will help you out, but you just got to toil and your serfdom, well, that discourages you. That makes you not want to do anything at all. And then you get, like, these loser-ass groypers, people who want a Nazi, and somebody who, like Ron DeSantis, who's got, I believe, I don't know what organization it was, but he had a Nazi flag in one of his campaign videos, And on top of that, Ron DeSantis, Ronnie, down in
I said he does have one.
He had it, but he had to take it down recently because his guys he has running for them are these little weasel nerd Nazis, the ones I told you about, the incels, the ones that nobody wants to be bothered with. Even, like, the people that fly Confederate flags don't want to be bothered with these guys. I mean, they're low down. Some of the worst of the worst. That guy who did the shooting down in Jacksonville? He tries to divest himself from that, tries to act like he had nothing to do with that. He gives his money to Jacksonville. DeSantis, I mean, because he needs the black vote, he needs a little bit of something, even though Donald Trump, out of all the Republican candidates, got the most black votes out of anybody. He's going for that, but the fact of the matter is, that guy was probably at some of Ron's rallies. Mm-hmm. Ron, he's made it clear that he doesn't care about minorities, be it with the whole thing, keeping prisoners from voting. They got those videos of the police rounding up these innocents that don't say gay bill, and he almost lost all that money he had with Disney, one of the only reasons to go to Florida outside of Miami, and the new education he's trying to put forth. I think that was part of Don't Say Gay or whatever it was. We just got Dennis Prager teaching his stuff down there.
I was gonna say, because no, go ahead.
No, you're right.
Oh, okay. But, like, I mean, Ron DeSantis is a joke. Let's be clear. I mean, he literally squandered his biggest biggest contributor to GDP of Disney. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see in the next 10, 15 years Disney just pack up and go somewhere else. Would not be surprised at all. I mean, to the point where the NAACP, the LGBTQ community, I think the Latino community, and there's so many other different communities who have issued travel warnings and travel restrictions to your state. I mean, I don't really see how you can justify all of that money leaving. I don't care what your politics are. You just losing money at this point. I mean, yeah, you may not like black people. Yeah, you may not like gays and this and that, but you still need money to run your state effectively. I mean,
the only appeal there is for Florida is that it's a libertarian paradise. You can get in there and get away with whatever you feel like you might do. It's kind of similar to Texas, but Texas is a little bit more couth. You got a little bit more diversity there. Florida doesn't have anything to offer. I mean, they had Disney. Disney has Euro Disney. They got the one in California. They got some in Japan. They got them in China. They don't really need to be there. And if they left and went over to California, it would have been even better. Can you imagine if they just pack all that up and then you don't have to go to Florida at all? I mean, there's no good education. There's Nazis running rampant, people carrying out shootings, things like that. You got a little rat in office, one who has made it clear that when he came in for his second term of governor, he was really just going for president, and he really didn't care about what was actually going on down there. I think he's expects that he's going to get that vote, but really he's lost a lot of the respect that he had before getting ran in by a mouse. You know. Because he's short, he doesn't have the same camera presence. I think if Donald Trump hadn't gotten called in by Georgia, and he was there to actually talk about it, if he was on stage, he would have given Christie, he would have given Pence, all those losers a run for their money,
Oh, easily.
Especially DeSantis, because DeSantis he's a little nerd. He runs on wedge issues, so that's why he's got all the groypers behind him,
How many other ones run on wedge issues?
I would say.
I mean, I think I saw Ramaswamy. He was telling he was talking about taking away a lot of the safety precautions that defunding the EPA and the FDA and all that stuff. And the lobbyists love that stuff. The IRS, things that people need to actually live. But other than that, you're right. It is mostly wedge issues, and that's really, I think, where DeSantis really falls in at. Because you remember when he sent those immigrants up to Martha's Vineyard.
Yep.
Following suit with that other guy, so he could get that little bit of media attention that he wanted.
Well,
then when the hurricane comes, he's going over and he's begging he's begging Biden for a little bit of aid.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, he can't do anything. I mean, Ron DeSantis is borrowing off Trump values. I mean, most of these Republicans are all they're doing is that, just stealing stuff.
He wouldn't have been in office without Trump.
Oh yeah, absolutely not. I mean, say what you want about Trump, but his strategy was effective. Like we said previously, he was able to get more black votes than any other Republican. Why? I have a feeling because he said that stupid stuff of, what do you got to lose?
Right.
That, and plus, The Apprentice was very popular. He shows up in a lot of rap songs. He was friends with Tyson. A lot of people kind of forgot about that Central Park 5 shit he said, talking about hang 'em all, because he's a media personality. He knows how to, he's a charlatan. He knows how to angle things so people don't see it as is. He gave that little money to the HBCUs, even though when they really needed it,
No, what he did was he continued what Obama started.
That, right. Yeah. And he bailed. Yeah, he did. He did exactly that.
And he took credit for it. So, I mean, that's what he does. But when you say a lot of black people voted for him, you know what I'm saying? That might be the case, but as an older black man, I sit back and I think, why? What did he offer you? I mean, what did you get from voting for this guy? Or what did you expect to get? You like his moxie? You like how he talked? He was something that was different, that was worth your vote?
Well, I mean, I don't...
So, I just want to know, what the hell did they get? I mean, what was the point of it?
I mean, to me, I don't think it was about that. I mean, that whole shoddy election was about vote this, not that. That's all people cared about. Oh, we can't have Hillary Clinton in office, so I'll vote for Trump over that. Or, I'll vote for Hillary over that. I mean, and then that's what disillusioned people and got people away from, voting from that 2016 election. It's just like, I mean, it wasn't about what they got from it. They knew it was going to be 4 years of nonsense, regardless of who was going to be in there. I mean, Democrats wanted Bernie more than anything. And then who got in there? Hillary. Why? Because she's an establishment, and they were pretty sure that an establishment person was going to win.
Yeah, it turned into a whole BS popularity contest. I mean, he went in there talking about he was going to drain the swamp. He was talking about crooked Hillary and all this and that. He was talking about her emails for so long. It's not like she was doing anything to help it out there. I mean, the Pokemon go to the polls, all that, the weird hats that the ladies were wearing and protest afterward. I mean, she wasn't really... She's not an attractive candidate as it is. She's not she doesn't have the charisma that you need to go against somebody like that. Yeah, that's why Warren lost. Elizabeth Warren is a lawyer, a brilliant woman, a very studied woman. She lost to Trump because Trump knows how to talk on camera. He's got media presence. He's got camera presence.
And people like when somebody offends somebody else.
Yeah, because it gets the clicks and gets the interest into the situation.
I think it's when they came out with the MAGA hats, I was like, wow, that was like one of the biggest dog whistles to me.
It's directly.
When has America ever been great for African Americans?
Exactly.
You know, and he was running on and selling hats, and this dude, man. I should take the man serious, but this dude took a mugshot and sold them joints.
Yeah,
made millions of dollars.
Sure. Oh yeah. I mean, Donald Trump sold the NFTs and made millions of dollars from that too. I mean,
and they can't pay Rudy Giuliani.
Oh man.
You talking about now? That's a hustler right there.
Mm-hmm.
That's a hustler right there.
I mean, he's a businessman. I mean, he's conned people. I would say he's conned people out of so much money, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, he's more of a con man than any kind of businessman. I mean, how do you let a casino fail on you? How do you lose money on a casino? It's literally designed so you don't. What do you say? Pomp and circus, all the grandiose stuff. Was you putting a big golden letters on it? And even if you do that, the Soaring Eagle's a big place. I don't even know how he managed to do that.
Well, I mean, during his prime in the '90s, he had a game show.
He did.
It was literally like, I mean, you can look it up on YouTube. It was the Trump card based on this like UK game show, basically just answer trivia questions. It's not in third, but I mean, literally like 90% of the set was gold. I mean, it's glitz, glamour. The host was wearing a tux. It was a whole hot mess. I mean, it was just embarrassing.
Bawdy.
It's just like, wow, but it had Trump's name on it, so it was cool. He had a board. I mean, he had a board game. He got a whole bunch of stuff.
Well, Trump stakes, yeah.
The man he parlayed himself up to the president of the United States.
Yeah.
Failed upwards. He's the best at failing upwards, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. That small loan of $1 million, I'll tell you.
But you know what? Like, domestic issues aside, we're probably going to come back to it as it is. I think we should address a little bit of what's going on in the world, you know. I saw recently over in Ukraine that they're starting to utilize weapons that are illegal in a lot of other places. I think they're banned by at least 100 other countries. Not companies, but...
countries?
Yeah, countries. And it's their use of cluster bombs, you know, and then the fact that they're firing, and this is coming from both sides, you know, and the fact that they're firing missiles into apartment buildings. As a 21-year-old, as a young man, I've never seen war up close like this, on this scale, seeing death and mayhem like this. I mean, when I was in class, back when I was in college, my professor put on a video of a missile flying into an apartment and a building blowing up, people walking away bloody, people with missing limbs, corpses in the streets. I don't know why she showed me that, but I think that's like, it's very telling of the world that we're in, and then the fact that America is the one who's given them these weapons, you know, because we have the cluster bombs. We're not in the part of the group that's saying we're not going to use them, but we're the ones who's giving them to them. You know, I think as it escalates and gets worse and worse, it's gonna be like a lot of other conflicts that America has its hands in, like the state that Iraq was in. You know, after we finished dropping uranium bombs on it, or Afghanistan. You know, the state that was in after we sacked it from Bush to Obama to the eventual exit with Trump. I mean, or even you know, Gaza. I know that's a bit of an unpopular one, but the state that Gaza is left in when we're supporting Israel and the things that they do. And granted, you know, there are some actors within it that you don't really want to deal. Syria, after Dirty Barry, the drone ranger blew it up and children were afraid of the sky. I think, and I'm not even going to put this on the people at all, I think those organizations that spring from it, Al-Qaeda, you know, ISIS, the Hamas, whatever Nazis are going to take over after Ukraine is done what they're doing, it comes directly because you've destabilized the region, and you've armed lunatics like we did down in South America when we armed the Contras. I think a lot of it goes back to like American imperialism and us just getting what we can get out of it, you know, making our profit whenever we can and then leaving everyone else behind, you know. What do you guys think? I
mean, America has always been a country that is in everybody's business. I mean, America has always been a supporter of some kind of foreign war, foreign affairs. That's just been America's role within the global politics, right? I mean, that's just what America does. So the fact that they're the biggest supporter of trying to get, you know, Ukraine these technologies, I mean, it makes perfect sense. I mean, to the point where I think it was the EU was literally waiting on America, saying, okay, well, we need to have America be the supporter, the ones that first, if they're not going to do it, I don't know if we're going to do it. You know what I mean? It's like, that's just America's role on the main stage. And that whole thought process of like, oh, America the great, America the beautiful has been ruined by 2020. If it hadn't been ruined before now.
It's because American imperialism is so pervasive. I mean, I think that NATO is really just like, is exactly that. It's just American imperialism spreading, and we try to demonize or make enemies of the people that we go after, whether it be like Gaddafi or something, saying that he's actually supporting these things. And granted, he was giving money to certain terrorist organizations, but where did these organizations come from? Didn't America give money to Bin Laden and also killed the man who was going to go after him? So he gets away with that. You know, we end up sacking Iraq afterward, you know, and we don't even go after Saudi Arabia because they got the oil. I mean, it's all about money. It's not about any of the little gilded stuff that we try to put over it. People are smelling the turd underneath the gold paint, and a lot of them aren't going along with it, or they are because they don't have a choice. I mean, didn't Sweden join NATO recently?
I think it was. I think it was either was. Yeah, I think it was Sweden.
Come on, NATO.
Yeah.
I don't know, but what did they expect Russia to do? I mean, really, you got Ukraine talking about they finna join NATO. I mean, that's just like
it was boxing these guys in, just like we're doing with China.
What you gonna do? Put nukes in Ukraine now? I mean, that's what Russia was worried about. I mean, that's just like putting nukes in Mexico and then pointing them at the U.S.
Yeah.
You know?
I think it's really.
I mean, that's the games that they play, man. But that's it's crazy. It's crazy, and it's been like that my whole life. I'm 57 years old. You know, what we do, we just try to figure out how to survive all that.
I mean, you're talking half a century of warfare. And the groups that arise from it, the hate that comes out of it, that only continues to perpetuate. I mean, ISIS was great for them because they could keep going in the Middle East doing what they were doing. Al Qaeda, great for them because they could keep doing what they were doing. Who was the group in Iraq?
You're talking about Gaddafi or
no?
Who was it? I can't think of the name.
Well, hell, the mercenaries that we use, the way that we betray the Uyghurs after everything that they do for us, you know? Mm-hmm. The fact that we keep giving all these weapons to Israel. Israel is really just so we can have a foothold in the Middle East so we can keep carrying out the things that we want to do. I mean, it's really so you can keep the control there. You know, the Hamas came because the Palestinian government is destroyed. It's in ruins. I mean, the average age of the person is what, like, are they basically all children because they've killed all fighting age men? You can watch them going into mosques and things like that, shooting them up, kicking in doors, putting people's eyes out. I mean, if you posture and build yourself on this whole idea of you being the world police and wanting to help people and do all this and that, and then you make it so that nobody else can make any money unless they work with you. So you get these bulldogs like England and France who will go along with you, and with France or somebody who doesn't want to do so. France who has no problem sacking or taking water away. What was
that? Niger.
Yeah, Niger. They have no problem going along with it, but if they stop, you know, they'll punish them, you know, or we'll make something like the Invasion of the Hague Act.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I mean, yeah.
I mean, you as a property owner, as someone who's been here a while, who's been paying taxes for a long time, one who's seeing your money go over to Ukraine. I understand it's pretty unpopular within the Republican Party, and you're not really much of a party type of guy. How do you really feel about American funds or American weapons that, mind you, are illegal in a lot of places being sent over there to be used?
That's what I don't like it at all. That's why I'm a Cornel West supporter, because that's all he speaks against. You know, corporate greed, wars. He talks about the Palestinian kids with the drones dropping on them, and not the drones, but the bombs that Israel is dropping on all these babies, man. Mm-hmm. That's crazy. And why? That is I don't know if you can call it war crimes or whatever, but they got these people in like makeshift concentration camps.
Yeah, it's an open air prison, a huge
I mean,
open air
that
prison.
is crazy, and nobody's talking about it. Nobody's accusing them of
Because if you talk about it, then they call you an anti-Semite. They tell you, what do you have against Jews is what it becomes. It's not about Jews. If anybody was doing this, we'd address it. You can't go into a place, kill most of the adults. And did they shoot a reporter in the face recently? Shot her in the head and killed her. An American woman. Mm-hmm. You can't just destroy and take life like this and expect nobody to say anything about it. I say they're the best at optics. They're really good, whether it be Democrats or Republicans, they're good at optics. They're good at framing their foreign policy in a way that it doesn't seem as if it's as bad as it actually is. And of course, the rest of the world can really see it. They're getting an idea of who we are. They understand that if they don't go along with what we're doing, it's going to hurt them. That's why they have the American economy come up on the BBC all the time. Mm-hmm. I think it's just people are trapped. They're in a rut, and people are looking for a way out. That's why we got people who are trying to work with China, and America trying to stop them. I think I heard something like Sweden wanted to trade some of their superconductors or some of the power they had with China, and America was stopping it because they don't want them to have the same technology. That's not just like they make it seem as if they're just like they're helping the enemy or something like that. That's helping humanity and society as a whole. If technology can advance across the planet, if we can share the knowledge that we have, because here in America, I like to believe we have the sum total of all human knowledge. We deny that to our own citizens. So who knows what we're doing to?
I mean, look what's going on in this country. Cornel West, he speaks about it all the time. I mean, he always leads with these major countries. They attack black and brown countries, destabilize them. I mean, think about it. Look at Saudi Arabia. They destroying, Yemen?
Yeah,
nobody's
the war,
talking
the
about
famine.
that.
It's awful over there.
No.
The slavery in Libya.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. The France, what they had, that one puppet dictator they had was deposed, and now they're taking water away from those people. What country was that again?
Nigeria.
Yeah, they're trying to starve Nigeria out, taking away what they have.
That's because they like you said, they took the puppet out of office, and they want to be able to
maneuver him.
Yeah. And do their own thing.
The tellurium mines that China's running have kids crawling down into holes and coming back out.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's nasty. It's real nasty. Recent, I believe it was a UFC heavyweight champion, Francis Ngannou, grew up in one of those mines working and came over here to fight. You would think it'd be an American story there, but that guy came out of a mine and I believe had to cross a desert to get there. And I think it was either that or he had to get on a raft to try to get into Italy. And in Italy, they'll just throw them back into the desert to dehydrate and die. It's either that or you get killed by the waves trying to get over there. I believe once he got to Italy, he was imprisoned for a while. It's real nasty the way that they'll treat those who they deem to not be human beings. And unfortunately, our people, people who look like us, rather, are often at the bottom of the list, the butt of the joke. That's not to say that others aren't suffering. You look at the border, at the concentration camps that they have there, and the efforts that they're putting to snuff out whatever life comes over there. I mean, I think I heard Ron DeSantis a little while ago talking about going after any kind of fighting. They love that line, fighting aged men. I think that's just an excuse for them to kill anybody 14 and up. Any kind of boy that they might deem able to remember what they've done, or be able to destabilize the gene pool, whatever it is, and kidnap the girls. I don't want to be too nasty. I don't know what exactly they're doing, but they've made it very clear that some people aren't human beings and some are. I mean, remember back when those Texas Rangers and who they were when they were whipping those Haitians with riding crops and they were trying to come by. It's did
that turn out to be actually true or?
They had the video. They had the video of them on the horses hitting those men, and those men still ended up having to go back. Or the fact that people will come up here from the border, people come there looking for work because we've taken everything down there, we've destabilized it, we've messed it up, and all that's left is I don't know, maybe a couple of cartels or gangs or whatever here or there. And when they get here, they may work for a little while. They have their wages stolen by their employer. Or they might be getting assaulted by their employer, some animal who's mistreating them. And when they complain about it or try to do anything about it, collect some of the money they have to send back to their families, they call ICE on them. ICE takes them, they're imprisoned, and now they're just slaves.
Low down, boy. That's real low down.
It's the way that America works. You know, America was never going to go without its slaves. I mean, look at the incarceration rate of our people. What was it, half of the prison population is black men? You know, the sentencing rate for black men is way higher than it is for
Well,
whites.
there's 2 million of them in there, so half is a lot.
We have like the largest population of enslaved individuals on the planet, and I think it's for a reason. You know, the police, they come after you, they're looking for a reason to do you in.
Well, I mean, that was the way that they could continue to keep people, black people specifically, and other races subservient. I mean, that they are the only population that they legally can mistreat, treat like dogs, right? And not give them the right to vote, not give them the right to do anything. And don't get me wrong, are there some people who have broken the law? Of course. There's some people who's killed people. There's some people who've murdered
some people belong in prison.
Right. But I refuse to believe that 2 million people all deserve to be in prison for as long as some of them have been in there. I refuse to believe that. I mean, you look at the police not the police. You look at the plaintiffs getting flimsy convictions off of people just because of them not knowing the system and them gaming the system so that they just get thrown in jail, and then they look up 2 years later and they're like, wait, what? I mean, but that's been systematically ingrained into America from the get-go. I mean, how many people don't know the legal system?
So many.
To the point where they say, oh, you better get a lawyer. You better lawyer up.
Don't say anything.
Mm-hmm. Don't say nothing. It's just like, it baffles me that we allow our citizens to be that way. I mean, black or white. It should make a white person upset, I would think, to not be able to truly know the legal system the way that it's set up here.
Yeah, especially since they're the ones that the police are killing the most. You know, aren't they the most victims of police shootings?
I think by the numbers, yeah.
And the only time they like to bring that up is to throw it back in the face of black people when they say that police violence is bad. If police violence is bad for the both of us, why wouldn't you acknowledge it and try to do something bad? And that goes back to the thing you say. They'll lose one eye if it means that we lose two. It doesn't make... I mean, I don't think it's meant to make any sense. Or the sense that it does make is that America's institutions were built on white supremacy. You know, the police, they came from, what was it, Pinkertons and overseers. You know, the judicial system at one point didn't even consider us to be human beings. Then we became 3/5 of a human being. And then after that, we finally got a little scrap of something. But Reconstruction was a joke. You know, they didn't do anything to actually help anybody. The Republicans in the North, they gave up after a little while once the traitors in the South, because that's what they are, flying a traitor's flag and it's calling it heritage. It's a traitor's flag and it's meant to uphold white supremacy. When those goons started carrying out ethnic pogroms, you know, killing people, taking people's land, you know, wiping them out, or Andrew Jackson, I believe, taking away the 40 acres or the little 40 acres that they got in Florida.
He was pretty bad.
Yeah, Jackson was a dog. He was a subhuman, barely even a human.
Yeah, he's the worst one. I mean, this dude committed genocide. I mean, he was worse than Hitler.
Wiped out the Cherokee. They're gone. He's the reason the Trail of Tears happened.
He was close to Hitler.
Very close.
Well, I mean, and going further on the point regarding Reconstruction, I mean, to the point where black people had to form our own communities, right? There were several affluent black-owned neighborhoods in that. And what did they do? Tore them down to shreds, burned the place up once they saw black people prospering.
Yeah, the Move bombing, the Tulsa. How many bombings were there? How many diseases were spread? I mean,
you know what? That's terrorism
at its core.
Right. That's what it is.
Well, it's not terrorism to them. That's just the good American way.
I mean, domestic
your flags
terrorism,
and going and rallying.
You know, I mean, we talk about those different organizations. You talk about Hamas and people like that. That's what they were back then. They were the same way. I mean, it was bad.
And we don't even know what they were doing because it's not even cataloged or documented. Who knows? I mean, I always say the cornfields, the amber waves of grain are watered with the blood of our people and so many others before that. You know, the Native Americans, this country used to be covered. It had a society, entire societies, languages, peoples. Where are any of them now? You know, nobody wants to talk about that. We want to, like, take it away because they have some kind of reparations in the form of like the land they get, the little money they get from the government here or there.
Yeah.
But what percent of the population did they make up? Not to mention like the violence that their women suffer. You know, how many Native American women did they find just like in a river somewhere?
Still happening.
You know, or just a girl just gone.
They are kidnapping them women like it ain't. That is crazy at the rate that they're doing that. Man.
And they're not even cataloging them right.
They just disappearing. I wonder how many people.
And they're so young.
Yeah.
I would say I have a feeling a whole lot of people don't know that, man.
That's what I'm saying. How many people know that? Mm-hmm. I mean, they are at the top of the list of the women that's disappearing.
And you know what they blame the women for? They have this like this idea of it's like the Native American woman is just promiscuous and this and that. They're not promiscuous, and it's not their fault that their only means of getting to their home is walking on this highway. It's some goon is going along that highway, and they know they're there, and they're grabbing the girl, and you're not putting forth an effort to find them. I mean, what is there like? I don't know, like, I forgot the exact number. It's a dark number, but there's a lot of enslaved people in the United States. Slavery is, like, I believe, second or third to only to drugs and guns in terms of like, illegal money here in the United States.
I mean, so slavery is still active. I mean, it's framed as sex trafficking, but it's still active. I mean, you go into a Walmart today and look at all them kids that's still posted up on that poster board. You still ain't seen nothing after 3 years, 2 years. That's not good enough to make news yet. You'll see a kid like John Benet Ramsey in a magazine 20 years later. Oh, we found a break in the case.
Not to mention the wage slavery. We were talking about like migrants and immigrants who come over here before. Those guys that are in the back of the Walmart who are working in the loading docks, you know, those guys who are working in the back of the kitchen, those guys who, like I said, complained one time, those guys who are working the farms, you know, getting their arm caught in a combine and getting the whole thing snatched off. Those guys are getting done in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention,
we don't know how pervasive that is.
We can't even see it because they don't want us to see it.
You know, and I mean, it makes the people say, okay, now nobody's looking out for us, so we have to come together and figure out how we can make moves to keep our kids safe. You know what I'm saying? To make sure that, you know, we being taken care of medically, financially, our kids are getting educated and stuff like that. You know, is that happening? Are we putting our trust in the politicians like Biden who make promises but ain't gonna do anything? You know, that's why I say, you know, I would rather, if they say, well, if you give your vote to Cornel West, that's a wasted vote. Yeah, but I have peace of mind.
Yeah.
But you made an effort. You tried something.
I have peace of mind because I know when he started talking, he's going to say black and brown brothers. Mm-hmm. And he's going to talk about the conditions, whereas Obama didn't do any of that. Mm-hmm. You know, mm-hmm. And people still love that dude. Yeah,
and didn't he like back during Ferguson when that man was it Ferguson or was it like the Minneapolis police who did that?
The fact that the fact that we have to clarify which shooting happened is just ridiculous, man.
Yeah. Black Lives That Matter started under Obama. Mm-hmm. You know, and plus you got all Chicago, man.
He high roaded the protesters, called them rioters, and said, "Stop burning down your own communities." These communities don't belong to them. They don't. There's not a black person in that community who owns the Walmart that's there, you know, or the Kmart, or not even that. Think about places like here in a food desert where there's one school, a school that's owned by a city over. The same city that's trying to get us to pay the taxes on it.
And that's something that's crazy.
And they're so quick to call the police on their own children.
And then come in and take over the schools that was just shut down. You know, it's. I mean, but so we as a people, what do we do about it? Because we can look at all the atrocities around the world,
right?
You know,
you can try to unify, but there's always going to be dogs that'll fight back against it, like David Webb, like some of Dennis Prazier's boys, like Larry Elder, Candace Owens, Clarence Thomas, people who say that America isn't actually institutionally racist. It's not institutionally racist because for you're getting that nice little $100,000 check from whoever your master is. You know, you get your pat on the head. Harlan Crow, Clarence Thomas, I hate to say this, but Harlan owns Clarence. All right, He was giving them home. He bought his mother his home.
I would say, I mean, gave him millions of dollars. I mean, it's just it's insane. I mean, I never heard of a Supreme Court justice, somebody that can make decisions for every single person in the United States of America, getting bought. Are you kidding me?
One of the most powerful institutions on the planet, and this guy just he kisses up to a guy who's got statues of evil men in his yard, dictators and like conquerors in his yard. That's what they found in Harlan's yard. I mean, and also, didn't they make him like air his laundry recently? He had to talk about everything that he got from him. So he was very clearly just getting bought and paid for by him. He was going on vacation on Harlan's dime. He was getting houses on Harlan's dime. He was sitting around doing all this and that. And it's not as if Clarence was a good guy going into it. I mean, wasn't his like induction under the Supreme Court really held up by the fact that he may or may not have been assaulting his staffers?
What's her name? I forgot her name, but they accused him.
They accused him, and you know, I think based on his character, how he is now, it may very well be true. You know.
Yeah.
In spite of all these different people, man, we got to figure out, you know,
what we can do.
Who to get behind to represent. You know, because it's crazy how people can look at a situation and say that's not happening. You know.
If we had a black messiah, you know, because we had Fred Hampton until the FBI went and executed him in his bed. We had who's the guy before Hampton who was part of the Black Panthers?
Huey P.
Yeah, we had Huey P. You know, he was imprisoned, lost his mind. Fred Hampton was killed in his bed. Martin Luther King, he was I don't want to say anglicized, but basically became basically a white folk hero, and outside of that, the FBI spread so much slander about him that his image is just no longer whatever it was. Malcolm X killed in the street by the they say it was the Nation of Islam, but do we know if it was really them killing their own brother?
No, I highly doubt that was what was going on. The government is real good at, especially back then, was good at covering up what the real reason for stuff is. I mean, to get to the point about what we do, I mean, I would love to say that we could get a representative in office that can actually do something. But the reality of it is, I think there's two things that need to happen. Number one, we need to vote people into Congress and our lower representatives, the folks that's actually making the policy. Them's the folks we need to be paying attention to. President, yeah, sure, he can do some executive orders, he can do this, that, and the third, but I mean, he ain't really, he's not the one that's making changes, right? Congress is who's making changes, right? We need to get folks in Congress and folks in our lower state governments and our city governments into power that actually care, that actually want to make a change, right? Because those are the changes we're going to see readily. You know, we're not going to see changes at the federal level. Number two, I think that we as a people just need to reorient our thought process to trying to build some more of those communities back in the day, right? Those Tulsas and the communities where we just are self-sufficient, at least for a little bit. I mean, and that doesn't mean doing what some black businesses do and charge $100 for 6 cupcakes. I mean, like, reasonable prices. Obviously, there's going to be a markup, but I mean, supporting black business, supporting black people in the quest to try to be better as a society. I mean, what do you think, Cam?
I think if we get black banks, things like that, I think if we cultivate our own messiah, you know, somebody like Cornel West, or maybe if we had a community like that somewhere where we could get them through a black school, you know, get them to an HBCU, keep them like from getting their minds altered by the things that are going on, because there's so many like pitfalls, there's so many places where you can lose yourself in your mind or forget where you like actually are or the state you're in or get comfortable, that it's really hard for you to like try to fight back against or champion for the things that you really need. I mean, I think if we had some foreign relations, you know, maybe if we start working with Haiti, you know, some people on the Pacific coast of Africa, you know, if they want to be bothered with it, they don't seem to want to be bothered with us as it is, you know. But if we had like some kind of influence, something to bargain with, you know, something that they need, then we would have something more to offer them, you know.
Right.
That's true.
Because if we don't have that, I'm afraid. Go ahead.
Killer Mike, man, he's doing it down in Atlanta. You know, they got black businesses and stuff like that. I mean, that's all he talk about. He's bright, brother.
Yeah, I've heard the ATL is a real black mecca. You know.
Yeah. I mean, and I think it just comes down to we need to start more of those cities, right? We need to cultivate that, whether that be, I don't know if Detroit is necessarily the hub for it, or whether it's going to be, Chicago or places where there are black people who are willing to contribute back to the community. Mm-hmm. I mean, when I was growing up in high school, all people talked about is, I got out of Detroit, man. I got out of Detroit, like. Folks that haven't left 8 Mile and don't really know anything about the outside world of Michigan, let alone the whole country. Been out the country,
And Grosse Pointe is right around the corner.
Exactly. But
I think really our best bet would be those other countries like Africa, like Haiti, brothers in Barbados. But white supremacy has made it in such a way that they hate us. They think that we're animals. They love our culture. They love hawking our culture, hairstyles, and all that stuff. They'll engage on that level. But when it comes to actually want to be bothered with us, they don't want to deal with guys on our level. They want Beyonce to come over. They want Jay-Z. They want that kind of money and influence. They don't want to deal with the average American millionaire or something like that because they think that we're dogs. I was watching this one video. This African girl was calling collard greens slave food. Slave food. I mean,
what?
You're on the slave continent of the planet. Everybody is sacking that place of it, be it of flesh, materials.
Well, they're fighting back now, though. They're speaking against the Western countries. I don't know.
But what about that one guy that tried to give weapons to Ukraine and they said we don't want your weapons?
Oh, when the African delegation went up there to help them with advice, and they told them.
Yeah, it's like, what are you trying to be bothered with Ukrainian Nazis? But who wants to be bothered with Ukraine? Do you think these WASPs over here in the United States or over in England actually care about those Slavs over there? You think they actually care about those the Jews over in Israel? They might say, but they only do care about it because of a storybook or a story in a book. They want to get them back to the promised land. They want to get that money from Ukraine buying these weapons. I mean, what are they saying? $800 million over there so far in terms of aid?
I mean, it's all about optics, right? I mean, that's why any country does anything. It's all about the way it looks in perception of every other country. I mean, that's foreign policy in a nutshell. I mean, trying to make sure that you are able to outmaneuver the other countries and make sure you're better for it.
We so far out the game, man. I mean, as far as foreign policy is concerned, African Americans, we are so far out the game. They don't even. I mean, they recognize our dollars.
Yeah.
They love rap.
And our culture, they recognize that. But as far as foreign policy, how many heads of state do, the black people over here even deal with as far as business and trade and they said it's about 10 countries over there that say that you can come home and we'll give you land and stuff like that. But they're talking about people like. You say like celebrities and people with money, people who can create jobs. That's what they're asking for.
Yeah, and plus, if you're creating jobs, they want them to work those jobs. They don't want you to bring over nobody over there.
But I can't be mad at them. You know what I'm saying? I can't
really?
Be mad.
I mean, they're shooting themselves in the foot. What are you talking about? You don't want regular people. You don't want to work with who's over here. The United States has the largest GDP of anyone on the planet. I mean, the American dollar is the dollar of the planet.
Yeah, but I mean that's not to cut you off, man. I'm sorry, but I mean the American dollar is not the most lucrative currency. I mean, despite everything going on with Brexit right now. The British pound is still $1.20 American. I mean, we as America has portrayed it to where where we are the best in this, that, and the third through optics and everything else. But we ain't. we're not terrible, but we ain't the best.
I don't know. I don't think that colorful play money's worth as much as they say it is. Because Brexit, they can't even export anything. The British exit was one of the worst political moves they could have ever made. I mean, taking themselves out of the European Union hamstrung them.
I'm trying to figure out what the motivation was.
I really think that it was mostly just racism from the Tory party. They didn't want any more immigration. They didn't like having I mean, you go to England and drive 15 minutes in one direction, you're in Germany, right? They wanted sovereignty when they don't have it anymore. They want to go back to being not a conquering, but like they want to be back to go back to being a kingdom. That's why they hold on to their king and their queen and all that. These ghouls who they have in that castle, you know.
So let's break it down a little bit for the folks that don't necessarily know. So back in 2016, the UK had a referendum, which is basically a fancy vote saying, do y'all want to stay or do y'all want to go? And it was historically low turnout from the younger people over there. And basically all the older people were like, yeah, let's go ahead and do this. And it just barely passed.
Yeah, a slim majority.
So they voted to leave. I think within the next week, I think was the NASDAQ or it was some either GDP or something like that went down 10%, right? And they obviously all the Tories and that said oh well it's going to take some time to rebound this that and the third, and they claimed that their whole thought process was to get out of the single market of the EU and the customs union. Now I don't know how much y'all know about it, but the single market basically was to allow similar to how we have in the States, where I can go deliver something over to Idaho. And it's not like a customs barrier or anything like that. It's just free flowing.
Yeah.
And then there's not these tariffs and all this and that. They wanted that to didn't want to deal with all with the EU's rules because they feel like they weren't able to make weren't able to make changes to it and this and that. But yeah, according to the OBR Economic and Fiscal Outlook in March of 22, which is one of their big, overarching reviewing.
Is that the Financial Times?
It's from the thing I'm quoting is from the Financial Times, yeah. Right. But like there was a 15% reduction in trade intensity due to Brexit. Why? Because they have to remake all of these deals that they had just by being in the EU. And it's not like they're making new deals. Half the time it's the exact same stuff that they had before. Like the business investment into the UK and just the value of the pound is decreased, as we've mentioned previously, right? Mm-hmm. The Financial Times was talking about there's been increased inflation. The business growth in general has decreased because now, like I said, you don't have free flowing trade now, right? You have to pay all these tariffs and all these things. Like there was a business on the Financial Times that was talking about their experience, saying before the Brexit started, business was booming, everything was great, right? After Brexit happened, and since then, other businesses won't even come to them and talk to them because oh no, they're in the UK. No, it's not even worth it. The question I have for you all is: would you ever consider starting a business in the UK, considering what's going on, or would you even? Is that something would you even deal with? I mean, granted, they've said that the decrease is due to the COVID and the Ukraine war, but in reality, Brexit is playing a part.
I wouldn't have done that because I believe it was back in 2012. It was like one of the largest surveillance states on the planet as it was. Not to mention I could start a business here and have to deal with the same thing. The racism. I think that's been a large part of what Brexit played into. It was older people who didn't want immigration coming in. They felt like it's a bit like over here in the United States how they'll say the 14 words. And white replacement. They feel like us committing miscegenation, as they put it, or immigrants coming over, or who's doing them in. And over there, they feel like it's Pakistanis coming in, or Indians, or Germans, or Europeans in general moving in. When really it's people like it's them just hamstringing themselves and shooting themselves in the foot because they want to try to keep things the way that it was. It's saying MAGA without saying MAGA. Mm-hmm.
What's your opinion?
I know. What keeps coming to mind with me is that they import more than they export. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm thinking. I don't know the ins and outs of it.
It's a little island.
I don't think that they are producing it a whole lot, and it's not. They don't think it's fair or something. I don't know.
I mean, that was their explanation for it was like I said that their trade wasn't being fairly distributed,
Right.
and like the fishing issue was a whole thing, like being able to fish where they want to versus having to fish only in this zone and this and that. But I mean, like, I refuse to sit here and believe it's anything other than the racism. Let's be real about it, right? America got our racism from somewhere, and it was from the UK because we were a bar to them. I mean, we took their thought processes and ideals and changed them slightly to make it fit what we wanted. But I mean, we got it from somewhere.
I mean, these are their descendants, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much they're, in terms of them producing. I don't know if they're producing anything at all, really, because it's mostly just a little island, isn't it?
I mean, yeah, I mean they are producing. Don't get me wrong, but it's not nearly the amount. Like people use the UK as a stepping stone to get access to the EU open market. You know, that was their, like, okay, if I got established in the UK, then I can branch out to, you know, Germany, your France and stuff like that, you know. But now that they've taken themselves out of that, I don't really see, me personally, I don't see any point in really not only starting a business, but I mean, just doing a whole lot of interaction with them. I mean, because if I wanted, the whole point of getting into the whole point of me being interested in the UK would be to get access to the EU. Because, I mean, once you got access to the EU, that's 19, 20 countries right there.
A lot of money, you know. I think that it's unreliable because they can't even really keep a prime minister in there. I mean, Boris was a bumbling fool, you know, an out-and-out racist. He was just an awful person. And then you get this one lady in there, and she's gone a couple months in.
Mm-hmm.
That was crazy.
I didn't understand how they did that. I was just like...
Yeah, I mean,
It was a vote of no confidence, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because, I mean, she really didn't do anything. I mean, granted, Boris led them into this. I really saw him as the Trump with a little bit more brains.
Right.
But, you know, I think they should cut their losses, go ahead and go back with the EU, and call it a day. I mean, I don't see what benefit Brexit is going to have. I really don't. I mean, you know, they're making this basically from what I can tell, they're making some of the same deals that they already had, just worse. It's like, so what's the benefit?
If they go ahead.
Then they got to have visas to go to these other countries.
Exactly.
It's embarrassing. You know, if they go back on it and then those MPs are done for and the party that championed this is done for. You know, if they go back on it, they have to admit that they were wrong, and there's going to be like a reconstruction period. You know, and if people were asking for their gems back when the Queen died, imagine what they're going to ask for back when they're like cutting new deals and trying to get new tariffs, trying to get the cost of beef and fishing rights, all that stuff back. People are going to want an arm and a leg from England, you know, and they already don't have that much to offer as it is. I mean, they got us, they're part of NATO, but really, as I said earlier, I think they're more just a bulldog in terms of pushing our foreign policy. I mean, they were over there in Iraq doing things alongside us when Halliburton was over there, and they were, and the only ministry that got secured was the Ministry of Energy. All the while, like it was all left in ruin. I think it's that England and the state that they're in is very telling of the state that the United States is going to be in. Because
Bingo.
It's been declining here in the United States since the Reagan era. You know, it's only gotten worse and worse with each president. The value of human life is depreciating, and it's only being valued in like the products you consume and the data you produce. You know, we're really turning more so into cattle over here, whereas over there they're like falling into old time pride and things like that, because they still got like a king and a queen to look up to and all that crap, but their desire to hold on to that, similar to our desire over here to hold on to our white supremacist values, so much so we would vote for a potential convict, is the ultimate downfall of these places. You know, the pride cometh before the fall.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the amount of effects that Reagan had on how things are now is just insane. You know what I mean? You just look and see how I mean, literally all of his policies, the war on drugs, just every single thing was systematically designed to destroy our way of life. And Republicans loved him, and other people loved him for it. I mean,
yeah, some blacks love him because they made a square bit of money when he was in there. The thing is he had a lot of didn't he have a lot of corporate tax breaks, and so did Donald Trump, like similar levels of tax breaks.
Oh yeah,
killed the unions.
Destroy the unions. I mean, what is unionization at the rate right now in the United States?
And he had nerve to be a part of the actors union.
Yeah, he was an actor before that. Can you believe that? He was going around like John Wayne in these movies, and then he becomes president, and turns out he's the devil. I don't know if it was him or Nixon. It was the one where it wasn't Nixon or JFK got assassinated, and then Nixon was after, and that's when they tried to destroy the Black Panthers and everything. That's what I mean by it degrading with time. Things just get worse and worse, and over time, you're really just left with disillusioned people that haven't been shown that their lives are beholden to the corporations or the people that live above them. Because like you look at somebody like Marjorie Taylor Greene, crazy as she is, hanging out with Rick Scott. Is it Rick Scott? Who's the House Speaker, or whatever it is?
What's his name?
I mean, he's such a nobody, we don't even remember who he is.
Exactly.
But the point I'm making is like Cruz, like I was saying before, she's a cowboy boot.
Is it Ryan?
I don't know. I mean, like I said before, she's a cowboy boot Republican, But really, I think that she's just a wine mom. I saw her doing an interview a while ago, and she was like, she was showing off all these acres of land that she has and all these businesses that she's working on. Your constituents don't have those businesses. They're not living on acres. They're living in subsidized housing. Even though they don't want to admit that they actually are, and they're collecting welfare. Even though you would have that taken away, and these people forced to struggle. It's all like I said, it's a gilded turd. It's a turd that was sprayed with gold spray paint, and now we got to deal with the
consequences.
Yeah, we got to deal with the paint cracking and the stake coming through.
Yeah. I mean, but that gets it at Congress in general. I mean, I think they make what? I think the lowest person makes $178,000 a year, and they vote for their own pay increases.
Yeah, not to mention the insider trading.
I say, like, I mean, we have to have some type of representative system in America because there's too many people to all say how they feel about every single issue, right? But to allow Congress to just pick and choose half this stuff, they don't really care. All they care about is getting reelected.
Yeah, they don't give a damn.
I don't think that we need like a one representative body. I think it would be good to do away with the current two-party system. Get just policy because like we said before, people want progressive things. Even though they might even though they might hate black people, they still want to make $15 instead of the regular $13 for minimum wage. They need health care. They know they need health care.
Federal, not to cut you off, but the federal minimum wage, I think, is still $7.65, man.
Do you see what I'm saying?
I still don't understand how that's possible, but yeah,
it's not livable.
you can't live off $10 now, let alone $7.65. Come on now.
People are starving to death, but I ain't on welfare. I ain't getting free money.
Well, yeah, I'm above that. I'm better than that. What about those guys where all the coal mines are closed down at? Yeah, you telling me you're not collecting any welfare? What was that song that came out recently? It was like the Rich Man in Richmond and all that crap. It was some corn song. I didn't really listen to it, but it's like there was hypocrisy within it because they're saying like the fat person getting they're saying people are getting fat off of welfare, even though that's the only way that you're surviving in this city or this little village in the Appalachians or in Montana or wherever you are. It's like it's the ability or the decision of the American people to shoot themselves in the foot or fall back onto the wedge issues instead of actually addressing what's happening to them is the reason that they can keep getting away with the things that they do. That's why companies like Limb, OPEC, and who's that one that owns the insulin company and they
Pfizer and that? Or you talking about?
Not Pfizer. It's I forgot, but the people who make it so that you got to buy insulin now.
Okay.
You know, like OPEC being an oil company, whoever owns everything. I saw an article that said like 100 companies are contributing to 70% or 75% of the world's pollution, and there's nothing you can do about it because you're too busy looking at Carlson talking about white replacement, or Hannity licking Trump's soles, or sucking at Stacey Adams, you know, or whoever the hell else doing and saying BS, you know. Ronald having it out with the mouse. It's all a joke. The United States is slowly becoming a joke, and we don't see the shambling corporate presence that's slowly grabbing people and eating them, you know, and choking and starving us all out here.
I see a certain amount of the population here listening to those people. Everybody else is just putting their head down and grinding. You know, when Bernie was running, I saw the excitement. You know, with the young, I saw the excitement. I was like, okay, this is going to be just like the '60s. It's going to be a turnover. We're going to get them old fogies out, and these people, and then they're going to start, you know, building this country back up again. But like you said, they got a stranglehold on all this stuff.
Mm-hmm. And they know how to turn it around. They know how to whip people into a frenzy.
And then they start playing, you know, playing games for people because they know people tribal. You know what I'm saying? They know that. But what's that? I told you I read that survey where they asked white people. They say if we give you $10 extra, if we can give black people $10 extra, and they was like, no. And then they said, well, if we give you 4, can we give them 2? They were like, yeah, we can work with that. I saw that survey, I can't find it. But that's usually how it is.
I mean, that goes back to that quote I was telling you about. Was it President Johnson? Was it Lyndon B. Johnson or something who said? I don't know if it was him. But he said if you convince the poorest white man that he's better than the greatest black man, he'll something about he'll empty his pockets for you, something like that, something along those lines. I mean, that's a known statement. That's something that's a part of it. But so long as they're like allowed to be in the white in group, so long as they can say, well, at least I'm not black, they're willing to go along with it. You know, that goes back to me saying them shooting themselves in the foot. I know for a fact that we're not going to go anywhere because that is part of American history. It was a part of the Reconstruction. You know, it's cultural. For some people, like people going to Charlottesville, like people like Matt Walsh, people like Stefan Molyneux, you know, people like Tucker Carlson. Hatred is all you have to go on. You know, it's what you were raised with. It's all you know. It's how you make your money. You know, it's not telling, but it's I think like the way you put it, all you really have left to do is try to survive and figure out a way. You know, we can talk about trying to find a messiah, trying to work with other places here and there, but I think in the grand scheme of things, as pervasive as the issues are, as heavy as the weights are on your back, I think you just got to find a way to stay strong, you know, and not cave under them. You know, so that when your children come, they got something to hold on to. You know, try to build some kind of generational wealth. Because, you know, we as black people, what are we, 2 generations removed from abject poverty, coming out of slavery and Jim Crow? I think we can try.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, you know, they trying to put Biden back in place.
Joe is nothing. He's a ghoul. He's got nothing. He's walking bones.
I, as a young person, I have 2 ways to think about that situation. I'm gonna live long enough to where he ain't gonna be in office no more, or I'm gonna be looking at this guy and be like, man, what is this world coming to? I'm gonna be hopeless.
Watching him fall on the Air Force stage again on some stairs.
You know, I don't know. He might be coaching. He might be in his right mind, but I can't watch him.
They're gonna have to like strap him to a dolly and wheel him out if they want him to run again.
I can't watch him. I can't watch Trump. You know what I'm saying? I look at both of these guys, and they're actually communicating with people,
with each other.
When I'm looking at them, I'm like, man, this is not good, man.
I mean, at the end of the day,
this is not good. I'm sorry.
No good. But like at the end of the day, I think we as young people do need to get more involved with politics. In addition, I mean that's the only way that things are going to move forward, right? I mean, despite all the hopelessness, despite everything that's going on, we still have to participate. Like for example, the Tennessee Three, those two black men who I don't know. Y'all,
I know about that. Yeah, they're trying to get that guy out who was saying all that.
Yeah, them the two black guys. They banned them from coming in because some technicality BS, and then the representatives of the people there voted them back into that.
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
the one that looks like Andre 3000.
Say again.
So you mean that one that looks like Andre 3000?
Yeah, but I mean, like you look at folks like them, and that's the more people we need, right? People who are willing to stand for what they know is right, and willing to believe in their constituents, right? I think that's the first start. At least, and still trying to maintain what we got now.
I agree. Young voices like that, young voices like AOC, down home dudes who can like relate with the people they're messing with, like John Fetterman. People who like really care about where they live, like Whitmer. I think you need people who actually want to do something in the Democratic side. Because there's plenty of people who will get comfortable, the people who will sit back and let things happen, who collect their check, who will do their little insider trading. When time comes, they'll. I mean, that's really the bottom line. I can only agree with you there. I think we got to get more young voices in the in politics. We got to get people who are willing to represent the people as a whole, or the people that are coming along to inherit the United States. Because the people that we currently have aren't. They're not able to do the job. Joe. The only reason I voted for Joe was because he was talking student loans. I knew about Joe and his crime bill. I remember watching him do it. I don't trust him to be able to carry out what we need him to do. Like I said, he's gonna have to come out on a dollar. He's old. I don't want to say he's a cripple, but he doesn't have it. I mean, when Trump was talking about Biden and the state that he was in, that was like a good goal for him. I mean, if he hadn't got COVID at the end there of his own presidency, he might have won a second term there because of the state that Joe was in. I mean, Joe could barely keep up with him in the debates, and people are talking about they wanted to be civilized and couth and all that. People just wanted to go back to things how they were. They wanted to be calm again. But for the most part, people want somebody who would champion the things that they want, somebody with some fervor, somebody who would fight back. And I don't think that Joe has that. And I know for a fact that Kamala doesn't have it, because Kamala, she doesn't have any like real camera presence. She's a prosecutor, she's a narc.
Mm-hmm.
And I really don't think that she's gonna like, in the same way that West would, like try to champion black issues,
She has a history.
Mm-hmm.
She has a history as far as being a prosecutor. I don't even know how she helped him get over the hump when he brought her on. But you know what? I don't even think black women particularly care about her, and that's sad.
The AKAs like her a little bit, This is their first sister to become vice president. They like that, but in terms of like the things that she's done and the character that she has, I'd agree there. I don't think that she's got the black women's vote, and I think that's going to be very telling, because I think they have they're a strong voting body within the United States. It was black women that organized Black Lives Matter. I wonder who they're looking towards right now, because I know they don't really have a lot of trust in Biden as it is. I know they're looking at the current Republican race. Maybe that's something we could have somebody on to ask us. To tell us about it or talk about,
Mm-hmm. I don't know how you're gonna go, survive the rigors of a campaign. To be honest with you, and I don't mean no harm for the man, but come on, man, that's a lot of traveling, a lot of campaigning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the way that he's sticking up for I think the only reason he's sticking up for McConnell's health, you're saying, Mitch called me, he said he sounded all right on the phone, because he's in the same state.
Exactly.
Because those medical staffers are keeping him pickled, keeping him alive like Frankenstein with all kinds of chemicals that they can get to try to keep him together. I call him a ghoul, but he's really more like a candle that you've had for too long. The wick is starting to go. It's melted down. You can look at his neck and his face. It looks like a demon has inhabited a man's flesh.
I was say, Mitch McConnell is one step removed from being like them heads in Futurama, man. with the water.
They need to pickle him, you know. When you can see that much of a man's gums when he's talking to it because his lips just can't connect anymore, then maybe you gotta reel him out. Get rid of him. His own constituents in Deep Red, I don't even remember where he was. They were telling him to resign.
I think it was Kentucky. I think.
In Kentucky. Deep Red Kentucky telling him to resign. Even they can't trust that man to get it done.
Didn't he have a fall or something?
I believe he did, and he got a concussion.
Yeah, that's why he be
freezing
zoning out.
But you know what? On a slightly lighter note, because we have been kind of down now. We're probably like bumming our viewers out. I like to say I did watch a movie recently, one that you guys probably seen. You guys ever seen The Truman Show?
Yes, I have seen The Truman Show. Yeah,
with Jim Carrey, one of his best works, man. I really liked it. The cinematography, the acting, everything was really good, and it was a good, not only comedy, but like a good. It was a good character piece. You know, it was a good existential horror when you think about it as it is. You know, imagine because it's really reflective of the reality that we live in. You know. As when I got my sociology minor, I learned that the culture that we live in is dictated by the society that governs it. You know, the non-material and material cultures that we live in. So, like a word in one place could mean something entirely different in another. You know, and I think going back to the things that we were talking about, when your society is dictated by those who wouldn't even deem people of another race, those of a different complexion of them, to be human beings, and it's very like reflective in the culture that you see. You know, you see black faces pushed to the side or pushed back or demonized or made to be less than human or less than what they actually are, you know, or you see the culture just taken and repackaged and placed in a different way. You know, you saw it with Elvis, you see it with dudes like Jack Harlow, Eminem. Or even I think I gave enough examples. It's really more so that like understanding that your society doesn't really care about you. It really puts in perspective the things that you see in culture and media. You know. Mm-hmm. What do you guys think?
Well, I think it's more fear, man, more than not caring about anybody. I think people are being made to fear each other so much. They're willing to do whatever it takes to keep them down or eliminate them.
Yeah, or they fear that I'm going to lose this if they get that, or like people being made to believe that their neighbors or this or that. You know, even though you can clearly see that some people are more inclined to terrorist acts than others. You know, I won't point fingers or name names. I can't speak as not all people are exactly the same, you know, but I don't see many people, I don't see any Black Panthers, carrying out mass shootings. There was that one trans shooter back in a little while ago, and they're calling for the manifesto of that one, but the police have got that. You know, we have the manifesto of the Jacksonville shooter. We have the weapons and the manifestos of these other shooters where they're citing the words of Steven Crowder, of Matt Walsh, of Ben Shapiro, of Tim Pool, you know. We have Nazi symbols carved into their guns. We have Nazi groups like Autowaffen, who are wanted for, I believe, like 10 killings in the United States. And those people are here because they're emboldened by the culture and the world that they see around them. You got a guy like Ron DeSantis who's saying it's okay for you to do these things. You're showing up to his rallies. You're feeling safe there. You're having community. You're meeting up with your guys. You got another guy who's telling you to stand back and stand by, even though you're a part of an organization that is in Canada and Sweden referred to as a terrorist organization. I'm referring to the Proud Boys. Well, you're gonna do what you want to do. That's why they got brave enough to run into the Capitol. You know, the world around them or the society around them is showing and telling them that some voices or some colors or some people aren't actually humans. You can do with them what you please.
I mean, just even speaking more into that fear. I mean, you see it portrayed, as you stated, in all types of media. I mean, you can see it in movies, you can see it in video games, you can see it everywhere. I mean, look at something like the battle royale genre, right? Genre that's literally about, you put a group of people into a situation, only one person can survive. One person wins, right? Mm-hmm. That whole concept is based on the fact of getting people to fear one another. right? Or to compete against one another. I still don't understand how it's so popular today. Like
And Big Brother watching down, and there's like a repeating trend of that, like that power watching them or making them do it. With the Hunger Games, you talk about the original battle royales where they had, like I believe, school children killing each other. You talk about the video games, or even a more
Fall
innocent
Guys
one. Yeah,
it's interesting to me that that fear is so pervasive that it's just made into so much into our daily culture that we don't even recognize it, right? So that being said, I guess my question for you all is, one, would you participate or play one of these types of games, right? This battle royale, all versus one. Number two, why do you think it's so popular today, other than the fear? Why do you think people are so drawn into this idea of being all versus one?
Well, individualism, in my opinion, is a part of American culture. That's why we don't want to help each other when things are happening, when we fall back on bootstraps whenever something is happening. And whenever like a tragedy like Uvalde or like Sandy Hook happens, people run and buy more guns because it's like, well, that guy could have been my neighbor, some lunatic over here or there, and that's when we finally start talking about mental health. But we only talk about that when it's time to start talking about putting the guns away, I think it's not only a fear of others, a fear that person's going to get your ducats, the little bit that you can get for yourself. But there's also the rugged individualism of like not needing someone else. Like you were talking about people saying, people who are willing to starve and go without their kids' only nutritious meal coming from school because they don't want to get the welfare. It's prideful. It's just nasty. It's a real divestment from like humanity as it is. It's representative of the culture as a whole, I think the fact that gun sales go up after a mass shooting rather than like gun policy being pushed forth, especially when children die, is very telling of what we're describing here. The fact that that only one can survive and only one person can be at the top, even though we try to talk as if meritocracy is the way of America, is very telling of what's happening. I think we're saying it without actually being able to say it. We're saying what's actually happening without really seeing it. You understand that regardless of what you do, only one person's going to be able to get out in the end. Only a few people are going to be able to get out.
What you think, man?
I think that as far as, there's a lot of information being put out there. A lot of, if I'm understanding the question correctly. There's a lot of this stuff being put out where people are just getting desensitized towards stuff, and like my mindset is, the family surviving, and I'm all about my family, so I purchase guns.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I purchase guns not to be, I hope that I never have to use them, but I will. In the protection of myself and my family, absolutely. And all that other stuff, it's so depressing. I don't even watch prize fights and stuff like that anymore. Let alone watch them type of movies and stuff like that. It's just, I've seen so much violence in my life, man.
And it's escalated.
I'm just trying to figure out how to just, see my family in a peaceful state, you know what I'm saying, and putting them and watching them put themselves in a position where they can survive and move forward and prosper and keep generations going. It's hard out here, to make it and stuff like that, but you got people that is. You got people that's making it. You got people that's paying attention to the grindstone and doing whatever it takes to make sure that they know where they, that the kids know how to get in and out of schools. You know what I'm saying? That was crazy with when y'all was at. I worried about that every day. And I said, man, I only got 4 years to get through this. As long as you know the exits. You know what I'm saying? know how to duck down, know how to keep himself safe. You know, and I think that's what most people do. That's, you know, they pretty much take care of their own and willing to do whatever it takes to make that happen. I don't know if I answered the question, but
I mean,
I'm just thinking about the whole.
I want to say, we can edit this part out right here. We can remember to edit here, but I don't know if we should say the name of the school. They can know we're in Michigan, but we don't want them to be able to narrow down our actual, where we are.
So, I mean, we can just cut that. We're in, and then we can bleep it out or something.
All right, so whoever is editing right now, we just remember that we cut this part. Or we could just bleep it as it is. Then.
Yeah, and then we go from there. But,
right. But you know what? I think you're exactly right. I agree with that sentiment. The need to protect your family because violence can strike at any moment. You know, you could be at the grocery store and some loser could walk in with his AR. I mean, and you ever see the people that carry out these shootings? These roach rats. I mean, I hesitate to even call them roaches and rats because they're honest. You know, they want to steal a little piece of food. These are the absolute dregs of human society. People who couldn't be around regular races. I mean, they're the cockroaches. It's filthy, greasy outcasts whose only means of like, not only means, they feel entitled. They feel that by virtue of being white that they're entitled to certain things, you know, and that because they're not getting it, or because they see different outcomes, you know, like they see people doing things that they feel like they should be doing, well, they should take things into their own hands. And by that I mean they should go and murder innocents, you know, and then kill themselves like cowards. You know, and then when it happens, those same groypers, these same losers on their forums, you know, in their sub chats and things like that, they want to say, well, that was actually like some leftist, you know, that wasn't actually us. You want them to carry out those lone wolf attacks. You want to bring military guys in because you're a loser in his house who's posting on forums and coming up with reasons why or ways that you would actually do this, and you would immediately divest yourself from them if anybody pressed you on them. You know, these are absolute cowards. You know, and I have to agree with you as well in the sense that I do see an escalation of violence in our culture as well. You know, people are getting used to shootings being carried out. I believe there's been more than 100 have happened this year as it is. And on top of that, you know, you see something like BR, how you were talking about, like Squid Game, something like that, or the movie Barbarian. You see Barbarian?
I haven't seen Barbarian. I've seen Squid Game.
I wouldn't recommend it because much like Squid Game, or even more so than Squid Game, it's gorenography. It's almost like it was made by Armie Hammer. You know, it's disgusting. That's
what I'm saying. That's too much. I saw the other day when some dude was asking this woman for a phone number. She wouldn't give it to him, so he hit her in the face with a brick.
Wow.
Was that real?
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? You know, it's
hit her in the face with a brick because he wouldn't give. But the witnesses there say they was going back and forth. But still, man, you hit a woman in the face with a brick.
To be that entitled, you know, people just so willing to carry out violence at the slightest provocation.
Right. But that's why people stock up on the guns and the ammo.
Right. Because you got to do something to protect yourself.
All that kind of stuff is actually happening, and you know, it's about being prepared. You know. So, I mean,
and maybe it very well could be that the battle royale is allowing people to have that a little escapism, but still doing the same things that they're doing, right?
To vent the violence,
exactly.
You know, play Call of Duty,
and play all these Hunger Games and stuff like that, because it's allowing them to get some of that out. But I mean, who knows?
Well, as it stands, you know, we have been going for a while now. You know, I think we should save a little bit for the rest of the episode. I want to thank you guys for joining us. You know, this has been 36 Crucible.